And the coach is in the game. The breakdown starts now. Welcome to the breakdown, everyone. I'm Maya May. I'm here with Lincoln Project Chief of Staff Ryan Wiggins, and Rick Wilson will be joining us soon. Hi, how are you?
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. We get some girl time before Rick joins us. How often does that happen?
And I feel like we need a little bit of that because I need something to cleanse my entire palate after watching that press conference. Is that what we're going to call that?
I would call it just one of his hysterical rants. I mean, just gibber. It's the poor old man needs to go to an asylum.
Yeah, and he seems to be a little bit confused about what asylum means. We'll get into that in the show. And we're also going to talk about all of the major enthusiasm around Tim Walz. Everybody was anticipating the announcement. I think I stayed up, I don't know, until like 1 o'clock in the morning, like, I can't fall asleep. The energy that's come out the gate, the couch burn, love that. So we are going to just hop right into it. Tim Walz, how exciting is that as a choice?
I mean, listen, me and the rest of America have just been introduced to this man, and I would die for him. Like, he is everyone's dad. I feel like he would kick my tires and check the tread before I got on the interstate and maybe sneak a 50 in my glove box just in case of emergency. Like, he is such a breath of fresh air. It's so nice to have wholesome, right?
Yeah. And I mean the wholesome pairing is like, you see the contrast. Right? Yeah, you see the contrast.
Mom and dad are in the room. They have come back. They are not going to let this scary boogeyman get America. And it is so incredibly refreshing, right? Like, so refreshing.
And we have an ad. Actually, let's just play that because it's introduction to Tim Walz in the race now. So let's roll it. Welcome the next Vice President of the United States, Tim Walz.
When Vice President and I talk about freedom, we mean the freedom to make your own healthcare decisions, for our children to be free to go to school without worrying they'll be shot dead in their classrooms. A place where we settle our political differences not through violence, but with our votes. For education to be that ticket to the middle class, not crippling debt. Air that's clean, water that's pure, communities that are safe. If Trump gets a chance to return, he's going to pick up exactly where he left off 4 years ago. Only this time, it will be much, much worse. We aren't going back. We just got to fight. Because as soon-to-be President Harris says, when we fight, we win.
It's
such a great ad.
Like, it is a great ad. Kudos. He has taken us to the national championship. He's going to win one for America. But this is the coach energy that we need, because a lot of people were really concerned about who she was going to pick and if it was going to pull down the ticket. And, like, the GOP was just hoping for an angle to be able to get in and say, look, she's already out the gate, made a bad choice, but she made a great choice. And the great choice and the best that they have is they're trying to go with a stolen valor. They're going after a vet.
They're going after him on all kinds of sad, weak sauce. But I will tell you what's so neat, Maya, is, we watched the RNC convention, right? And toxic masculinity was just on parade, right? You had Hulk Hogan ripping his shirt off and like, oh, look at me. And then you had UFC head of the UFC, who is a known wife beater, like introducing Trump. And you had all of this toxic yuck. Mm-hmm. And then you see a real man who doesn't have to prove it. And there's no toxicity there. He is okay showing his sensitive side. It's okay to talk about his family struggle with IVF and with fertility issues. He's okay talking about his history and just a really decent guy. I mean, just a really decent guy. I can't think of a reason anyone would hate him.
Yeah, I feel like anybody who has an issue with him needs to do some serious soul searching because, especially, I'm glad that you brought up the IVF because we often think of it as a woman's issue, and
Yep.
it's not. It's
It's
a
not.
family issue. It's people
Yep.
trying to form families issue. And so I think it was great that he put a masculine face on
Yeah.
that. And really kind of humanize that for a lot of people because I'm sure a lot of men who are struggling to have families saw themselves in that.
Yes. Yes. And a lot of, I mean, listen, I have a nephew who was born through IVF. My sister struggled for years. And I will tell you, her husband struggled right there with her. And we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about how this stuff affects men as well as women. So I think it is, like I said, such a breath of fresh air, so much joy, so much excitement. He hasn't had sex with a couch that we're aware of. I mean,
Not that, yeah, I was gonna say, like,
not that there's anything wrong with it. There kind of is.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to judge anybody's lifestyle. You know what I mean? It's all about independent liberties, freedoms. Exactly. So, JD, you do whatever you want. And speaking of the couch, actually, I love that Coach knows how to dish it out as well.
He does.
So,
he does.
He's got like the Midwestern nice. I'm from the Midwest, and so it's like the Midwestern nice, but it's also the like, don't try me.
That's right. And that's why he's going to appeal to Southerners. He's that Midwesterner with the Southern venom. Like he's got both.
I love it. And we have a clip, I believe, of him doing that. So let's roll that.
Yeah.
That is, if he's willing to get off the couch and show up.
Sleep on the couch tonight. Some couch.
I just love it.
What's absolutely great about that is this was his first rally.
Yeah. Maya, one of the things that I heard the other night, I think I was watching CNN, and one of the things that I heard them say is that before he took the job as VP or said he would agree to be on the ticket, he had to talk to the campaign because the man doesn't use a teleprompter. He's never used a teleprompter in his life. So when he's giving these speeches, they want him to be exactly on their message. They want him to be reciting, a campaign stunt speech. And this isn't something he knows how to do. So before he did that rally, they took some time to have him work with a teleprompter. Do you know how refreshing it is to have a politician who wants to speak off the cuff and does it eloquently and beautifully and doesn't want a teleprompter? I mean, how great is that? How great is that?
It's refreshing and it shows how genuine he is. It's like everything that he says it with his chest. It comes from his heart and it resonates. And that's why the energy was so wild. And I teared up more than once watching some of these rallies because it's like, this is what America should be, can be, and is if it weren't for Trump trying to drive this wedge in between people that just really shouldn't exist. And I think we got it. It's like, I almost don't want to talk about Trump anymore. Like, that's the thing. Like, I want to get through these, 90 so days so we can make him irrelevant.
We're 89 today. We're out of the
89?
90s. We're in 89 days today. So no, I agree with you. I don't want to talk about Trump. If I'm going to talk about Trump and Vance, I want to talk about how weird they are. And I think we have a clip of JD Vance just being his normal weird self.
Yeah, let's roll it.
Yeah.
JD Vance has really stepped up. He's doing a fantastic job.
Well, I smile at a lot of things, including bogus questions from the media, man. I'm a normal guy.
I think we have to go to war against the anti-child ideology.
I guess they'd want to have a beer with me because I actually do like to drink beer. And right now, I am angry.
I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist too, but it's good.
Son, shut the hell up for 30 seconds about Pikachus.
I love you guys.
I'm a normal guy.
still the best worst pick because
I'm so delighted with this pick. It's so wonderful. I mean, you have this guy. It's almost as if RFK Jr. and JD Vance are trying to have a weird off this week.
Oh my God, I forgot about the baby bear in Central Park. Like,
well, the roadkill that he has in a freezer. Like they're having a weird off, and so it just once again points to this dynamic of normalcy versus what in the hell is that? We're trying to what is this? And I think most Americans want to relate to something that even have fun, but look normal, be kind of normal. I mean, we're on 2 weeks of people talking about JD Vance and his relationship with couches. That is what you want when you are a vice presidential candidate and you are second on a ticket. Like, that is just not it. So just constant.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, because he is actually very weird, there's nothing that he can do to shift the narrative. Like, he truly can't. Like, what did he do? He tried to creep on the press. Like, Kamala wasn't going to talk.
Kamala's playing. He's stalking her around the country. Let me tell you, there's not a whole lot that's creepier than a middle-aged white dude stalking a black woman throughout the country. Like, that's not okay. And it reminds me of the same bullying tactics that Trump pulled back in 2016 with Hillary, where she was on the stage and he was just kind of pacing behind her. It's an intimidation thing. And it's amazing that these women have shown absolutely no intimidation of these guys. There's nothing to be intimidated about. They're losers.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is these guys are so out of touch. And I feel like everyone in America knows a guy like JD Vance, right? Like,
of course we do.
Is just trying too hard. Like, he posted that Entourage pic and was like, is that even your plane in the background? Like, what are you doing? And I think like,
well, you know what, Mike? This week, the team has put together some incredible gear to highlight the weirdness of JD Vance and how great the new pick is on the Democratic side. I think the first person who bought that Make America Normal Again hat. I love it. As a Florida Panhandle girl, I can wear that out and I'm not going to get jumped. I'm so excited about it. And who doesn't want a normal America? Like, we have been so embarrassed on a national stage. I was just on Sky News this afternoon in Great Britain, and we were talking about this, how important it is that America maintains some semblance of being a credible source of democracy and of being a world leader. And you can't do that when the whole world is laughing at you. And that is kind of what's been happening with Trump. So, I mean, even across the pond, they're very excited about Kamala and Walz. I think that it's going to be a great year. I'm very excited.
I'm very excited. I'm also excited for the merch and the camo. For the first time in my life, I'm like, I got to get me some camo because
I got to get some camo.
Yeah. And we're making it, this is the thing. It's like reclaiming so many things that like these MAGA Republicans have tried to own patriotism. They've tried to own the flag. And I can't remember which of the 3 rallies it was, but there was a point where they were chanting USA, USA. And I feel like this was one of the, like, seeing it like that, but with the diversity of America.
Yes.
That is something to be proud of. It's when they're chanting USA and you're just seeing like all these angry white men, that has a different feel. That has a different vibe. Yes. And so seeing people embrace this like multiracial, multi-generational sort of freedom, like that's what's going to bring America together. And it's such a huge contrast to Trump, who is now backsliding. Like, we're seeing this because he went from, I'm going to be the unity candidate at the convention. And I want to see, do we want to keep the vibes high? Because I was like, I wanted to show the Trump clip, but we can actually show them. We've got a great clip of the vibes when they arrived
in Michigan.
Yeah, let's watch that first.
Incredible. Yeah, let's definitely do that. is Rick.
Right on time. Right on time.
Right on time. I'm never late. I'm never late deliberately.
So you know what was really interesting about that clip, Maya, is that they had to move that event because they had so many RSVPs. They had like 50,000 RSVPs to that event. They had to move it into that hangar so that they could fit everybody. Now, they're not moving Trump events into big hangars, and they're moving them into smaller spaces. Lincoln this past week actually had a side-by-side of a Trump rally and a Harris rally in the same exact auditorium, and it was just mind-blowing, which is why the man is losing his shit today and is complaining, she's paying her people to be there. No one is being paid to go to Kamala's rallies. Everyone will go there for free.
Yeah.
You know what? We're going to end up at the point. I was just saying this on an interview. This sense of enthusiasm and crowd engagement and audience engagement with this campaign and with Vice President Harris and Governor Walz, it feels like I haven't experienced this. Mm-hmm. I have not seen a campaign run like this where their problem isn't, can we get a room and make it look full? Their problem is, can we get a room that's big enough to handle all the people that want to be there? And I did some research today after Trump told one of his 4,718,000 lies about having hundreds of thousands of people at his rallies. Weirdly, the press has actually kept track of this. Trump's largest event ever was one of the earliest in Alabama. It was in the stadium in Alabama, in Auburn, and it was about 28,000 people. You look down that list, the average Trump rally is like 1,000 people or 3,000 people. And it's not the same thing. They're there, they go, they buy a t-shirt, they wander off because he's always telling the same stupid freaking story for the 400th time. And so, I don't know, these people that are showing up, they're driving for 6 hours to go to Harris rallies. And, at some point we're going to get Trump to the point like, no one's ever had more people inside a Denny's restaurant to hear them speak than I have. There are over 7 million people in this Denny's with another 12 million waiting outside to come in. And it's just going to be it's like everything else. I'm sure you guys have already talked about this. That was like this amazing lie-a-thon today.
Oh, yeah. We haven't gotten to that yet, Rick. We haven't talked about the press conference.
Yeah.
We were waiting for you.
Timing is impeccable.
Yes. Yeah, actually, it's like we would in the Denny's. It's like when MLK was at a Denny's is probably what you would say.
He was not served delicious hot breakfast as I have been complimentary.
Yeah, we have a clip.
Do we have a clip of that? Yeah, of that MLK.
Let's roll it.
People relatively going to the Capitol, but you never see the picture of the crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken. I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people. If not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. They said I had 25,000, and he had 1 million people, and I'm okay with it because I liked Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah.
What was that? Yeah. I had more people, but he had 1 million, and I only have 25,000. But it's okay because I like
the problem for Trump with this one was I don't know where he pulled that out of his hat. He could have said I had a bigger crowd than Ronald Reagan or Bill Clinton or even Barack. It would have been true, but it also would have been somewhat less profoundly offensive.
Yeah, well,
he just can't help it. And I'm telling you guys, Donald Trump's thinking a lot about his legacy, and he feels it closing in. And there's a thing he's hating so much, and this is what's eating his guts out right now. He's worried now he's going to get beat by a black woman, and he hates it so much. Like, if Joe Biden had beaten him, he would have shrugged it off at one level. He would have been a bitch about it. But man, he sees the humiliation coming at him like a fucking freight train, and I'm so here for it.
Oh,
I am
so here for it.
I'm
Especially after
definitely
what he did last week on stage with the black journalist questioning the ethnicity of a vice president. Like, you think that's going to play with that audience? Who is your audience for this?
Yeah. Well,
Who
and
is the
also
audience?
doubling down, tripling down on it. And I think that's why he said the MLK thing almost like he's got black people on the brain. Like he's
Yes.
just like
Yes.
in his
Yes.
mind, like how because he even was like, you know, I'm not doing so well with black women, but they're they're gonna come around. Like it was like I'm doing good with black men. Like, what are you talking about, sir? Like it's almost like his brain is not computing the fact that he's going to lose. And part of the reason he's going to lose is because of black women.
Yes.
There was a comment today. There was a comment today, an anonymous comment by a Trump advisor or staffer that was like, "We're worried what happens when he's on stage with a black woman."
I'm not.
So,
I'm excited.
On the one hand, yes, you should be worried about that. You should be worried about what's going to happen to you on that stage. On the other hand, I don't think they meant it in the way. I think they're afraid that there's a non-zero chance that Donald Trump will be up there and use the N-word or something else equally crazy. I think they're worried that this guy, and by the way, if you guys were a Trump staffer today and you're sitting there off stage watching that, you know what you're doing tonight? You're like, I'm going to go on LinkedIn and update my resume.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's clearly losing confidence in his people. That's why I don't think, if I looked at this campaign and I was Chris LaCivita or Susie Wiles or Jason Miller, and I said, what should we do to break out of this rut that we're in? I know, let's let the boss stand on stage looking weird and weak and diminished and tell the same stupid war stories again and the same lies again, and to go out there and act like an asshole to America again. And it just felt so disconnected. Didn't you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I also, it felt like when they asked him if he changed his strategy or if he was going to change his approach, and his answer was no, absolutely not. And it's like, because you didn't have a strategy to begin with, for one, but it just shows the like lack of preparedness, but also the lack of respect that he has for not only like his campaign, but for his base as well, because he should be coming through with something and he's got nothing. And it's quite clear and obvious to everyone at this point. And so, yeah, pack those bags. And
I mean, you know, we've all been in campaigns where things went wrong, things went belly up, things went, you know, as my grandma would say, tits to the wind. And this campaign has that feeling. And I think what's really shocking to Trump and to his people inside the inner circle, let's think about it, guys. They had 6 weeks of the best political luck of anyone I've ever seen in my career. They were killing Joe Biden before the debate. The debate absolutely put them in a dominant position in the campaign. They were rolling hard. They were moving forward. And then the convention, there was a weird whiff of wrongness in the convention. It wasn't quite a bad convention, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. And the next day, Joe Biden pulls out, switches over. We hot swap for Kamala Harris, and he cannot catch a break since then. He has been clowned. He has been shamed. And I got to tell you, this is a guy we all know he does not have the ability to rationally process emotions. He's thinking, now this is my campaign screwing me. They hate me. She's manipulating the deep state to get me. All of it is so fantastically painful for him. And I mean, I want to tell you I'm a good enough person not to wish suffering on others, but I'm really not.
Well, and the thing is, he disappeared for a hot minute, so you thought he would come back with something that was different,
right? Like an idea, an approach, a pitch, a concept, something.
Yeah, and it's such a contrast to the way, and I think this is what's tripping them up right now is every time they put JD Vance or Trump on a stage in front of anyone, it's going to sharply contrast to how how Kamala is crushing it, how Tim Walz is crushing it. Like the contrast now is so stark for anyone who's watching. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. So
it is so true. I mean, you look at the JD Vance following her around now, and JD Vance gives off the cover your drink vibe in ways
we just talked about this too, Rick. He's creepy.
He's a creepy dude.
So creepy. And he's not getting better. He's had 2 weeks on the campaign trail now to improve, to have his people put him in places where he should be able to thrive and prosper and communicate. His advance team clearly hates him. I mean, we've seen that a couple times now. They're not able to draw people there. That thing he did yesterday in Michigan was there were more people standing behind him on the stage that the campaign had put there than there were in the audience. The audience was like 7 reporters and 2 randos who were like, is the Dunkin' Donuts nearby? You know, this is not a guy who's getting better or doing better or drawing attention and appreciation on the campaign trail. So I think Vance has become such a contrast to Walz, who in 3 days now has become like this pop culture sensation.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. I love how he connects with people. I love how he is a weird, kind of quirky, you know, suburban white bro with you can feel something about this guy in campaigns. You can always tell if they're play acting the role of the candidate or if it's who they are. This guy is exactly who he is. He's not going to go out there and pretend to be Winston Churchill. He's not going to go out there and pretend to be a mastermind of deep policy matters. He's like America's cool neighbor who knows how to fix shit. And
he believes in us.
Yeah.
He does. He loves us, despite the fact that we're not lovable.
We're doing better. Hey, it's baby steps of progress. It's baby steps of progress. And that's the energy that he brings is like, he's like, I'm going to hold you to a high standard. And I love that teacher energy from him where it's like, I'm expecting better from you guys. And we're all like, yes, we will deliver it. We will deliver the votes. And I think that's like so important because the thought of seeing him on stage at a debate next to JD Vance, when you have this energy of like, I believe in America, like, please, yes, we need
manifest that shit. Manifest that shit because we all need that.
Let me say this. JD Vance will come at him with what I call the Yale Law School spider monkey approach. He'll try to build these elaborate arguments about Walz, and Walz is going to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? You know, how do you sleep at night? And I just feel like Walz was such a good choice. And look, we all could make arguments on all the other candidates, right? We could make a million arguments about why Mark Kelly would have been great, or why Shapiro would have been great, or why Brashear would have been great. There are all these reasons why she had an embarrassment of riches. She had great people to pick from. And Donald Trump singularly managed to let his broligarch buddies pick out the weirdest mofo in American politics right now. And Vance is not doing well. You can feel it. You can see it in his face. I mean, he's like the Sarah Palin of Dan Quayle's at this point.
So sad.
Well, and that's the thing. Trump hates him. Trump hates him so much. And he hates Trump.
So,
we know that.
Maya, you could not be more right. He hates him. You can see it like he's thinking to himself like, maybe I could bring back Mike Pence.
Right.
He's trying to bring back Joe Biden.
Yeah, exactly.
One of his rants earlier this week is like, well, Biden's going to jump back in and everything's going to be okay, right?
It's like, no, baby, you're in this on your own now.
Now, listen,
So
I know a lot of people want to manifest things, but Joe Biden getting back in the race for Donald Trump's benefit, I just don't see that one happening. I see that as one of those projections where you're not going to get what you really want.
I think that's right.
Yeah, and we have an ad. I don't know if you guys have seen it, Flipper, that is kind of.
Oh yeah.
Let's watch that.
The Olympics give us examples of unparalleled athleticism, feats of human flexibility that defy imagination. But there's one man whose superhuman flexibility is unparalleled. That man is J.D. Vance. Just watch as J.D. Vance flips on his most passionately held beliefs.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
Tonight, we celebrate he is our once and future President of the United States of America.
Unbelievable! Do you believe in miracles? Okay, here we see J.D. Vance trying the technically complex and difficult move of dodging his comments about women.
We're effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies.
As a parent, you should have more power. You should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Of course, for a whole host of reasons, it's not going to work out for some people. We should pray for those people.
Oh, incredible! Just incredible! Can you believe he does all this from the comfort of his couch? Wow! Just wow! J.D. Vance, the undisputed champion of intellectual dishonesty.
The couch joke's never getting old. I'm not taking any lectures.
Never get old either.
Nobody can lecture me about the fucking couch jokes because I'm not going to stop making them. Understand? Sorry.
I brought that across the pond today. I was making couch jokes in England,
Nice.
and they said this didn't make the news over here. I was like, well, now it has.
I had a reporter ask me today about it. Like, whatever happens when we go low, they go high. We go high. I'm like, do you fucking know me?
Yeah. When they go low, we meet them there with a crowbar. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Make sure they can't get back up. Like, you
That's right.
stay there.
We got him at the knee.
Oh my God. Bad people always screw themselves. It's a lesson I've never forgotten.
Yeah.
But
You know what's really weird, guys? Have y'all seen how Trump keeps talking about Hannibal Lecter and he keeps talking about they're coming in and they're coming into our mental institutions? Y'all, he is confusing the word asylum.
yes. Yes. He thinks asylum means that they're escaping from mental hospitals.
Hospitals and not seeking asylum.
Look, I grant you, Trump has a 5th grade education.
Yeah.
And I have been told by multiple people over the years, since I started reporting the first book, that Trump is functionally illiterate. He cannot read.
I believe that.
His lack of an education is so bad. The whole thing of the joke about like you have to show him simple pictograms. It's true. He does not. He is barely literate, and I'm. That's a crisis in America we really need to address. But in this case, it's like he doesn't read these things. He has no comprehension of any of it. And so when he hears the word asylum, he thinks it's the place they've threatened to send me for years. I get it, but it's always built in around these gigantic, elaborate lies.
Yes.
And so he's going to stick with it, no matter how stupid it is. I'm sure they've told him it's not the case, right? Mm-hmm. When he says things like they're emptying out every mental institution in the world. No.
Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? It reminds that thing about like squirrels, like if they're running across the street, but like a car comes, they panic and they go back to the other direction. Like they go back to safety and that's why they get hit. That's Trump. He's the squirrel who's like, oh my God, what do I do? And he's running back to the curb and he's getting just run over because you can't like the same thing over and over again, like zero ability to change his approach, which is why I am so excited to not have to hear him talk in 89 days, you said, Ryan?
Yeah.
89 today.
I will say this also. I think there are a few signs that I've found that, I mean, all kidding aside, folks, the Trump campaign has pulled down a lot of its TV. They have turned over their grassroots organizing in the States to Turning Point USA. Let that sit for a second and percolate. They're not building out statewide organizations. They're not doing voter contact. Donald Trump this week is campaigning in the key swing state of Montana. And that's his only campaign event this week. The guy's golfing for 3 days a week right now. I suspect there's a part of his little lizard brain that is checked out. That he's like, nah, screw it. I'll just keep the rest of the money and do as best I can. And then I'll try to cheat and claim I won and see what happens. That's where I think he's at really right now. Mm-hmm. Because if you're a rational thinker, if you're a rational person around Donald Trump, like Chris LaCivita or Susie Wiles, you're looking at every day and thinking, if I just escape this thing alive, I can somehow rebuild my reputation. I'll just take out their resume, and 5 years from now, people will go, what were you doing between 2023 and 2024? And they'll say federal prison, or it was a grave robber, or whatever it is. Because the humiliation they're about to experience from Trump in public is like nothing they've ever thought of before. They've never, well, Susie Wiles was humiliated, but it was an inside game when DeSantis fired her. It wasn't like press releases and tweets and screaming at people. With Trump, he's going to blame them. They're not going to turn the numbers around in the next week or two. I'd actually would probably give them until the end of the month. But if those numbers aren't back up where Trump has a 4 or 5 point advantage, Chris and Susie are on life support. That campaign is in trouble.
Yep.
But
we
where
know he's capable of firing his campaign people because
yes,
we actually got him.
We've done it before.
Yes.
Folks, if you're new to the show, in 2020, we heard a rumor from inside Trump land that Donald Trump thought Brad Parscale was making too much money. So we ran an ad that reminded Donald Trump Brad Parscale was making too much money. By the time that ad had percolated in Trump's feeble little brain for a few days, we were running it down at Mar-a-Lago. It was basically free to run. I mean, TV ads were very expensive, but just in Mar-a-Lago, just where you see it, like $5,000 or whatever it was, right?
Not bad.
Or a week, not bad. And he lost his mind, and he fired Brad Parscale. Why did he fire him? Because we got in his head. What have we been doing down there for the last couple of weeks? Running ads telling Donald Trump, hey, Chris and Susie are screwing up. They're not doing a good job for you. They made you hire J.D. Vance. Why'd they do that, Donald? And so that, as part of Lincoln's tasking in the world, we go out and persuade voters. We go out and set the narrative, and we also go out and screw with Donald Trump. He's making it so much easier. I mean, Ryan, you and Maya both know how much fun we're having inside the chats every day. Because it's like, it used to be like we'd find something good a couple times a week to like poke Trump on, and now it's like, oh, there's 7 things from today.
No, we have the best job. I mean, the best job. It is so much fun. We laugh all day long about this stuff. If the world could see our water cooler chat, and we would have a bazillion more followers.
Kate has GOP cribs. Guys.
Kate does have GOP cribs.
This is a classic. Kate. This is what Brad
Meet Brad Parscale. From dead broke to the man Trump can't win without. Brad was getting rich. How rich? Really rich. But don't tell Donald. He'd wonder how Brad can afford so much. A $2.4 million waterfront house in Fort Lauderdale. 2 Florida condos worth almost $1 million each. He even has his very own yacht. A gorgeous Ferrari. A sleek Range Rover. Brad brags about using private jets. Oh my, Brad's a star. And why not? Brad's worth every dollar. Just ask him.
Love that.
No one does it better than us. No one is better at getting in his head than our creative team. And it's amazing.
And our social team.
Social team, yeah. And press. Hell, the whole damn team. We're pretty good at it.
But
what I love about once you're in his head, it triggers that kind of psychosis.
Yes.
For him, that is this kind of like downward slide, and like there's another ad I think where words like it because it's really showing how much he is deteriorating in front of our eyes. In front of our eyes. And the media's not covering it as much as they should be, but we're showing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to miss.
What do we got?
Yeah. Do we have that? Do we have words? Do we have?
Old, weak.
Many don't feel he is fit.
Sick, tired.
Too old to serve.
Stammering, slurring.
He was ranting and raving.
Slipping, forgetting.
And the guy just kept getting confused.
Slow.
Panic has certainly set in.
You know which politician we're talking about, right? Oh, you thought it was about Joe Biden?
Venezuela, it's unbelievable.
Is he all right?
Let's think about some more words. Liar.
I have absolutely no idea who this woman is.
Criminal. Rapist.
I'm here because Donald Trump raped me.
Scammer.
I can say very clearly President Trump is a liar.
Con man. Gross. Vain.
I don't care about you. I just want your vote.
Cruel.
You are a rude, terrible person.
Disgusting. Creep. You know exactly who we're talking about.
You won't have to vote anymore.
Don't you?
You know, he knows, and that ad was a narrative setting ad. That wasn't just an audience of one ad, but it got into his head too. Yeah. And that's why he gets pissed at us. But guys, he has nobody to blame but himself. He has nobody to blame but himself. He shouldn't be running. He knows it. He's desperate to stay out of jail. And I said this on an interview earlier. Someone's like, but you're just a Trump critic. I'm like, I can tell you this objectively as somebody who's been around politics my entire adult life, who's worked at the highest levels, who's done the big show, who's trained people to speak, who's trained people to debate, who's trained people to be on stage in these big events. He doesn't have it anymore.
He doesn't.
Doesn't have it anymore. And, we just, if you watch today, folks, I'm sorry you spent an hour plus of your lives. But we have compressed this beautiful hour. The best hour of questions you've ever answered or heard in your life. No one's ever done it better. I'm going to stop my Donald Trump imitation now. I'm told it's not very good.
That's all right.
That's not very good.
Now, listen, the only accent of a president I could ever truly excel at was Bill Clinton. Now,
you do a good Bill Clinton.
Our audience is probably way too young to remember that, but Bill Clinton, man, he had a thing. He'd look a woman in the eye and go, the only mystery in the universe is how much pleasure you can really experience.
Oh, my God.
And I won't sleep tonight. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I was like, nightmare fuel. Okay.
Now, we have that montage of the actual Donald Trump.
You guys got to see this.
Donald Trump.
This is the best of this craziness today.
The best of the worst, guys.
You got to see this. We'll put it out on YouTube later too.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your being here. Millions of people were allowed to come into our country from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions, insane asylums, even insane asylums. That's it's a mental institution on steroids. That's what it is. White males way up. White males have gone through the roof. White males way up. I have 10 times, 20 times, 30 times the crowd size. We don't have enough electricity. We couldn't make enough electricity. In history, for any country, nobody's had crowds like I have, and you know that. Of course, there'll be a peaceful transfer, and there was last time. Many people have courage, and many people don't. If you look at January 6th, which a lot of people aren't talking about very much, nobody was killed on January 6th. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, same number of people, if not, we had more. And you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people. We call her the first loser. She was the first loser. So I've run against Hillary. And I've run against various other people. It's a hard room because it's very big, if you know. So this is worth $18 million. Oh, I see. They need weapons for protection in this country. People live out in the woods, and they're not going to have a gun. And any Jewish person that votes for Kamala and her friend, her new friend, you have to have your head examined. Well, I know Willie Brown very well. In fact, I went down in a helicopter with him. We thought maybe this is the end. We were in a helicopter going to a certain location together. I'm not a big fan of his brain. With Hillary Clinton, I could have done things to her that would have made your head spin. I was very protective of her. Nobody would understand that. I thought it was so bad to take her and put her in jail, the wife of a president of the United States. I'm not going to use foul language. I totally protected the guns. If President Trump doesn't win, you're going to have a depression. I happen to agree. I think that's true. We have so many different ways we can make money. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
It's just word salad. Just word salad. It's verbal dysentery.
I actually listened to it on 2x speed. Like I waited, and then I just. It was kind of entertaining, to be honest with you, at 2x speed. I highly recommend it.
At that point, you have like the Ben Shapiro version of Donald Trump.
Yeah. Well, I was like, wait, did he just say that about black women that I think he did? Let me. Did
Right
I hear
in,
that?
way up, folks.
No, and he's agreed to debate now, so we're gonna see him,
babies. September 10th,
stage.
ABC.
Yep.
With Kamala. She's gonna hand his ass to him. Like
it's gonna be so good.
Know.
Carve his ass off, throw it on the grill, roast it up, and feed it to him. It's gonna be
so good.
And one thing that he is not prepared for is when Donald Trump came looming up behind Hillary Clinton and hovered over her and did the lurking bullshit he did. And when he tried it with Joe Biden, she ain't gonna play that game, y'all.
Did you see her with the heckler the other night?
Yeah.
She tried to address it nicely at first. I think we have a clip of it.
Yeah, I think we do. Let's roll it.
I think we have a clip of it.
I'm here because we believe in democracy. Everyone's voice matters, but I am speaking now. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
She ain't putting up with shit.
No.
Like, this is why we need a woman president.
It is
like that right
energy.
there.
Yeah.
That mom look that she gave the crowd.
You know what that mom look is? That's the mom look where mom's like, my shit filter is full.
Yeah, I'm done. No more fucks. Zero to give.
Yeah. Exactly that. And so I have never been more excited for a debate that I am for.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he's going to try to find a reason to pull out because the fact
Listen, I think there's a chance that Trump will do some last minute bait and switch bullshit that
my ear hurts. I can't.
Right.
Bone spurs. I got bone spurs.
My ear pawn fell off, and I'm bleeding heavily. No, I think that's right though. I think he may try to find a way to get out of the debate, try to skunk away from it, because he's afraid, and that is an emotion Donald Trump is not accustomed to in our politics. He's not accustomed to being afraid, and now he's afraid a lot more than he used to be.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, and he's not going to therapy for it. So
we're here for it.
We're here for it.
Rick, there was an interesting poll that came out in Florida today. Did you see?
I did. Christian Olvert down there.
Yeah. Woo-hoo!
Poll, folks. Y'all should. And I'm just going to caveat this up front. I'm just going to say it up front. Florida is not in play. Florida is not in play. Florida is not in play. But maybe you can see on the farthest possible horizon the tiniest glint of the possibility of light reflecting off of the hypothetical case that Florida could be in play.
Yes.
Because Kamala Harris is ahead of Donald Trump in Miami-Dade County by 15 goddamn points.
15 points, y'all. 15 points.
15 points.
And this is not a bullshit poll. We both know Christian Olvert well.
It comprises almost 22% of the election day votes in the state. If that holds up and that starts moving forward, and you've got an abortion choice amendment on the ballot and a recreational marijuana amendment on the ballot, and you've got Florida women are pissed.
We're so mad. We're mad.
But Trump said that's not an issue anymore. That's what he said today. He said women don't care.
Are you going to vote on those two ballot initiatives? And he was like, I will have a press conference to announce that. It will be more liberal than you think. I'm like, either way, you're fucked, buddy.
Yeah, totally.
Either way, you fucked. It is definitely one of those moments where you know that this guy is struggling. And if he starts to feel like Florida gets loose underneath him, because guys, here's the horrifying truth about Florida. In America, the top 30 media markets, 10 of them are in Florida.
Yes.
10 of them. To operate on TV in a campaign here a week now, about $5 to $8 million, depending on how much you're going to do. it is the most expensive state in the union to operate in politically that could be considered anywhere near remotely swingish. You're not going to play the game in Texas. You're not going to play the game in New York or California. But if Trump starts having to spend money here in Florida to defend himself, and to make, the minute you hear them say something like the Florida firewall, okay, listen for a phrase like that, like the Red Castle or the Florida firewall or whatever they call it. That is a sign the campaign knows that the game is over. That is a sign the campaign knows they are all going to end up getting interrogated by the FBI when it's all over. It's done if they start talking about Florida as their last bastion, their firewall. And if they start saying, well, Florida's a purple state. No, it's a red state. And if it falls apart on them, the consequences nationally are gigantic. They are unspeakably impactful. So,
yep,
gonna get lit.
And nothing's gonna save him. Not an interview with Elon Musk. Not
no. I mean, look, Trump talking about Elon today. It's like he talks about Tim Walz. He doesn't quite remember who it's talking about. You know, he doesn't quite know what's going on with it, but he feels like he has to make mouth noises until people stop listening to him. And no, they're not. You can't go on Hannity enough times to move the numbers. You're just not going to do it. And I will say this, folks. I don't have any proof of this whatsoever, but I know that Ron DeSantis and his people are spiteful bitches.
Oh yeah.
And if Donald Trump needs any kind of political help in Florida, they're going to be like, "Yes, sir, we'd absolutely love to." Soon.
But that's also why he's having trouble in Florida.
Around to it.
Yeah.
They will fuck him from behind, and I mean, metaphorically, obviously. Well, who knows? Listen, I'm not judging anybody. They will screw this guy so bad because they hate him so much, and the Rick Scott people, they hate him. The Marco people and Marco, even though Marco wants to be Secretary of State, he realizes that's not going to happen now. So Trump is basically in command of the base of the party, but the apparatus of the party here is like, okay, we'll see what happens.
Well, and part of the reason he has so much trouble in Florida right now, Rick, is because of this whole culture war shit that DeSantis has pulled for years. So Floridians are tired of it. We're tired of the hate. We're tired of the anger. We're tired of the being offended by just whatever. We're tired of the party that used to be the party of small government being the party of get the hell out of my bedroom, get out of my womb, get out of my life. I don't want to think about it. I don't like it like that.
When you had people in the governor's office recently trying to find legal ways for them to buy commercially available data from period monitoring apps so they could follow women and make sure they weren't getting abortions. Mm-hmm. That's not limited government, y'all. That's fucking psychotic.
Absolutely. Yes. Which is why I love our new gear. I'm just going to plug it again.
Boom!
Mind your damn business.
Go to the gear.
Mind your damn business.
Mind your own damn business. Like, yes. For the love, mind your own business.
Like if you're truly a conservative, you're not caring what other people are doing in their personal lives. Yep. And you don't want government to regulate it. So buy that get it as a gift for that person who's confused about what their values are.
Much like Ryan especially has helped lead our Take Back the Flag campaign at Lincoln for several years now. I'm going to adopt the Take Back camo.
I like Take Back camo. I'm right there with you.
I have certain limits. I'm not going to be like Real Tree head to toe. I'm not going to show up in a ghillie suit, as I saw a guy at a Trump rally recently. But you know what? I like the Make America Normal camo hat. I mean, that is you can't let these people own entire islands of the American culture.
That's
you just can't let them have it. And so a lot of the stuff we've been doing lately is kind of fun. The piece of gear I truly love. You guys saw all the Alito flag, the pine tree with the Appeal to Heaven flag, which has become like a code word between the right wingers. Our Appeal to Heaven coconut flag that the gear store has is chef's kiss.
It is.
I haven't seen it. it.
Oh, it's
so good.
So great. All of our Kamala Walz gear is out of control awesome. And they are all pre-ordered.
It's selling out like mad.
We're selling out. That's what I'm saying. I know we have a limited supply of those shirts and those hats. I was the one who had to approve that this afternoon. So get them while you can, because I'm telling you, we won't have them for long. I think we only ordered like 500 of those hats. And as of this afternoon, we were through about almost half of them.
Yeah.
So get on it, because they won't be there for long.
Good times, y'all. Good time.
Yeah, the vibes are good.
It was more fun than it was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Wow. Yeah. What a difference a couple weeks makes. Like, I'm not sleeping, but I'm happy about it now, because it's like I want to be up. I want to know.
Right. It's like I got up this morning with the dogs, 5:30 in the morning, and I'm sitting in the kitchen. I'm looking at the news. I'm looking at Playbook. I'm like, this doesn't suck. None of this sucks.
None of it sucks.
None of it sucks.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I think the most underestimated thing in this whole campaign was her ability to scale up quickly, because she's scaling up quickly. And I'm thrilled by it. Also, by the way, I just want to let everybody who's watching tonight know, thank you. This is one of our biggest audiences in a long time. Yeah. And we love having you guys with us. We love having the conversation. We do follow the chat. And even though it runs by like so fast, I feel like I'm going to have a seizure. But we really appreciate everybody watching. If you guys could do one big thing for us, subscribe to the channel, click the bell, share the content. We are doing everything we can to get the message out. And it's a little different than Lincoln was even a few weeks ago, because now there's a lot more hope and joy in this process than just fear and anger. And that's a really fun place to be. I have to say it, guys. I have to say it. And I'm not notoriously like the most chipper, cheerful, sunshiny, optimistic person you'll ever meet. But I'm having more fun than I've had in a long time.
Yeah.
And we're going to win.
We are going to win. We're going to win, and we're going to win big. And I am so excited and so relieved by it. Speaking of the comments, I have seen a couple that have said that my microphone is blowing out their speakers. Y'all, I'm so sorry. It's a headset, and I can't really control it. I'll get a better mic, I promise. Okay. But I appreciate you guys letting me be here tonight. This was a lot of fun, guys.
Well,
y'all shouldn't get to have all the fun.
We'll make it a thing.
I loved it.
Yeah, we absolutely.
We're gonna make Kate's Gen Z cultural translator section a thing also.
I think that's a great idea. A great idea, because Walz is especially hitting that demographic, and that is so surprising, because here's a 60-year-old man, and Gen Z loves him.
He's like the cool teach. He's the coach that you could turn to in a time of need. Like, he's that trusted adult, that source. Like, and it's like, oh. Like, that is relatable to Gen Z in a way that I think the other side, the opposition, is not. They're never going to be able to get that. They're never going to be able to do that. And so
I don't know.
We've got the vibes on our side.
Maybe Kid Rock and Hulk Hogan and Scott Baio will seal the deal for them.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's going to be advising on the debate strategy, right? Like, Scott Baio, I think he's going to.
As one does.
He's in charge. Charles is in charge of
sadness.
He's in charge of sadness. All right, guys.
Enjoy the vibes, guys.
I think we've taken up enough of your valuable time this evening. And shall we go out with the usual, the last week?
I think we should.
Yeah, I think we should go out with it. Yeah.
All right, Maya.
Violent mobs. Let the violent mobs.
I'm on the phone with Donald Trump, and I'm like, son, shut the hell up for 30 seconds about Pikachu. This is the most important phone call of my life.
You cannot be a Democrat and be a believer in Jesus Christ.
Is she sober?
Call me weird all you want. I'm happy to be who I am.
Seems to be a little bit sensitive.
This should not even be close, but it is, because we are so corrupt and stupid as a country.
Can't fact check political speech. Rhetoric, opinion.
By the way, do you like my buddy Felix's shirt?
I love that.
Felix, by the way, Mr. Trump.
Fact checking is fake, and it's actually kind of dangerous.
The more the American people get to know J.D. Vance, unlike Kamala Harris, the more they like him.
This is the good stuff here. It's high caffeine, low calorie.
She likes wine, she likes food, she likes to dance. She's just like your typical girl's girl.
Left is trying to take away your children and turn them into non-binaries.
The two words are Merry Christmas. She doesn't want anybody saying Merry Christmas.
But the biggest thing that the Trump campaign can do is stop talking about what her race is.
I'm bigger than Obama.
Nobody cares if she's Indian, black, or a space Martian.
This is no time to collapse into a puddle of goo. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
His name is Donald Trump, not Donald Trump. Trump.
I'll tell you about TikTok.
It's a war crime that Obama's directing and Kamala Harris will be the cackling hyena that just listens and repeats.
She gave me a kiss. I said, I think I'm never going back home to the First Lady.
You were supposed to keep that quiet.
Journalists, I didn't know who she was, but she was nasty. She was a terrible person. I'd like to congratulate Vladimir Putin for having made yet another great deal.